We'll do it live.
Okay.
We'll do it live. It. Do it live. I'll write it and we'll do it live. Thing sucks.
And we welcome you in. It's Friday, January 3rd, 2025. It is the Daily Puck Drop. The great Jim Mora is here. Jason Puckett with you. We go live every day on the Daily Puck Drop. For those listening and watching later, we go live every day at 10. And then we podcast everything up later on YouTube, Apple, Spotify, wherever you find your podcast. I am broadcasting from the one and only, the PuckSports Studios, built by Limback Lumber Contractors. They got free deliveries, everything from whole house packages to homeowner DIY projects. Largest stock moldings in the Northwest. They got old school service. Give them a call, 206-782-3487. Visit them online at limbacklumber.com. I'm not going to lie. I could crawl right back into bed. I'm only here for you, Jim Mora. The only reason I'm here is on this Friday for you. And Jim is with us on Monday, Wednesdays, and Fridays, brought to you by the one and only
Clean Streak at cleanstreak.com, professional window and exterior cleaning service. Brian Turner, a proud sponsor here at pucksports.com, serving Island and Skagit counties for more than 10 years, 100% satisfaction guaranteed. If you need your roof cleaned, your gutters cleaned out, if you need some pressure washing of the driveway, the siding, they do it all at a Clean Streak. So give Brian a call at 360-395-5748 or visit cleanstreak.com. I was texting with Brian and he told me, yeah, we're Island and Skagit counties, but if you live in a different county, he'll either help you out and do it himself or find someone who will. So give him a call.
Brian.
He takes care of everything.
Brian, that's why Brian's an American, is what he is. He's an American because he wants to help people. You can follow, of course, the go-to guy at Cougs Go there on old Twitter. You can find me at PuckSports on Twitter, X, Instagram, also on Blue Sky, on TikTok, Puck_sports, and on Facebook. And sign up, become a Puck's Posse member. We released it last week. You want to hear the one and only, the dynamic duo of Graz and Gas. Hour and 15 minutes of laughter and fun. I'm telling you, you're not going to be disappointed. Just $5 a month. Become a Puck's Posse member. And Graz and Gas, it was fun to do that show a couple of weeks ago with those guys. So if you want to check that out, it's available for Puck's Posse members. Sign up today. And again, just $5 a month. If you have any problems with the $5 a month, Jim, you know me. I'm a person. I will help. And I will help anybody, anytime there and give you your $5. We'll take care of you if you can't afford the $5 a month. All right. How are you, sir? Happy New Year to you. Happy 2025.
Happy New Year, Puck Boy. We both look terrible, I must say. We both had days where we've looked better, probably weeks, months, years.
Correct.
Yeah, I tried to fix my hair, during that 1 minute lead up thing, but unsuccessful. So I was trying to look more presentable.
Look bad?
I'm not sick. You're sick. I'm sitting here in a hotel room in Tonopah, Nevada, doing the show today.
Why there?
We're driving between Bend and Scottsdale, where a free house awaits. My mom and her husband have a house down there that's vacant. Okay. And we're closing on a house in Bend later in January, so we kind of have a 3-week period where we are just on the road and enjoying the heck out of it. We went through Winnemucca. We watched the Rose Bowl there in a Winnemucca casino, and then we moved on to Tonopah yesterday and on to Vegas.
I've never heard
today.
of these places. Are these in Nevada?
You haven't heard of Winnemucca?
No, I've never heard of these places.
It's the halfway point on Highway 80 between San Francisco and Salt Lake City, I think.
Okay, all right.
Yeah.
All right, well, congratulations on the new house. Wonderful news. Can't wait to see it. Probably a sprawling estate in Bend.
Oh, my God, yeah. Well, I made so much money at the PI and then at 710 and KJR that I didn't know what to do with it, so I thought I'd blow it on a house in Bend.
Probably have an elevator in there, a maid service. Are you in it looks like a closet. You're in a hotel room. Oh, you've got the ironing board and the microwave behind you.
Yeah.
It's good.
It's an old school hotel in downtown Tonopah.
Okay.
I think it opened in 1906. It's one of those Wild West looking towns, and it looks like it could still be 1885 here.
Yeah, nice.
It's kind of cool though. Apparently we're on the 3rd floor, and apparently there's a ghost upstairs in the fifth floor.
Oh, perfect.
Because somebody was murdered up there back in the Wild West days.
That's a hell of a place to stay. Why don't you go up to that?
Yeah.
We should have done the show from the 5th floor.
I should have. Yeah. Do you believe? Okay, I know you don't believe in God. Do you believe in ghosts?
I do. Yes, I do.
Okay, so why?
I just feel that they're around. I don't know. I just do.
And do you think they're like Casper and they're friendly, or
no? No, I think they're evil.
You don't.
I think they're trying.
You don't think they're friendly?
Yeah,
if I went up to the 5th floor, there'd be some, the murdered woman, the ghost will pull out a knife and stab me, or what?
I believe so. I believe she'd want to. Yes. I do.
I believe in ghosts too.
No, I don't like it. I don't like. I shut the light off coming up from the basement. When I turn the light downstairs, walking up the stairs, I hurry up the stairs. I don't like it. I feel like someone's down there waiting to get me.
Okay, have you been to Tokeland? Kind of down.
No.
Yeah, Aberdeen way. There's a little town out there by the coast called Tokeland, and there's a place called the Tokeland Hotel.
Okay.
And if you Google the Tokeland Hotel, you can find out about some stories there of ghosts.
All right.
And that ghost was friendly, apparently.
Okay, Tokeland Hotel. All right, I'll look it up. Yeah. I'm not feeling well. I really, really would like to be back in bed right now. But because it's the Friday, it's the last show before Seahawks play their finale. We got Troy Wins coming on in about 30 minutes or so. We've got to do our Puck the Picker final pigskin pick'em. We got 5 people that are still in the hunt for the trip to Las Vegas, so we got to go over that. But other than that, I got started feeling sick New Year's Eve night. No, I'm not hungover. Yeah. None of that. And it just was, it morphed over to New Year's Day. I got an idea for yesterday. Terrible.
I got an idea for you. So how long is the show going to go? Until, you don't have Egan today.
Yeah, Egan has the same sickness I have. So Egan was like, we were texting back and forth last night. He's like, I don't know if I can make it. I go, well, I don't want to make it, but I'm going to suck it up, Egan. But then this morning, he's like, yeah, I can't do it. I'm calling in sick to work. So if I don't do King 5, I don't think I can come on your show today. I'm like, that's a fair point.
Yeah, that's a really fair point. So you go until 11 today then?
Probably. Yeah, a little after.
Okay, you could pull a Cam Ward and quit at 10:30, and I'll go the rest of the way.
Okay, you want to do that? Yeah, sure. You want to do that?
Was that not one of the most bogus things ever?
Did we talk about that last week at all? I don't know. Maybe I talked about it with Ken. I thought we talked about Canzano. That was so much. These last 2 weeks are so weird because normally, like in radio days, we wouldn't be on at all during the last 2 weeks. And then the way that Christmas Eve and Christmas fell, and New Year's Eve and New Year's fell, in the middle of the week, and so it's throwing everybody off. I don't think anyone's done any work for the last 2 weeks at all. Nothing. There's so much that has happened in the last 2 weeks and so much to get caught up on. Yeah, the Cam Ward thing. I don't know how you can tell me with a straight face that can affect his draft status. Honestly, I don't know how people can really, if you're a person that sits in one of those NFL rooms and says, no, that's fine. It's fine that he quit on his team.
Yeah.
How does that fly with people?
I think you mentioned it before. He should have either played the entire game or not played at all. And because that's what the players normally do that opt out.
Well, what I don't understand.
He pulled a Delora.
Yeah, but these people that say, oh, why are you so upset? This won't affect his draft status. I'm just glad that he played one quarter or one half. He still showed a commitment to his team. Isn't he under contract? Didn't he get paid by Miami? So if he got paid by Miami, shouldn't he fulfill the contract of the NIL? Wouldn't you think? Unless you tell me the NIL maybe these contracts only cover the regular season and they don't cover the bowl season. To me, it would just cover the season.
Well, yeah, and if that is the case, it is just regular season. That's one of the first changes that need to be. Yeah. That's a simple one that could be made, and everyone, I think, would understand that, except for what? Like if your bowl game, though, is January 1st, the portal closes, what, the 28th or 29th?
28th. Well, open longer here for Cougar players, anyone that's gone through a coaching change. But yeah, you're right.
Yeah. So if you could change the window there, then maybe you could do something about that. But yeah. The bowl games are just so crazy; they're hard to predict, and they're hard to bet on too, which is always concerning to me.
Well, how about in the Sun Bowl, the Louisville punter
What did he do? I didn't hear that story.
He's out. He didn't play in the game. He quit because they didn't pay him. He actually has probably a pretty good reason. He claims they haven't paid him for his NIL. So he's like, well, if you haven't paid me, I'm not going to play. Which, okay, I side
How
with the
much is
player
a
on that
punter
one.
making these days?
I don't know, but don't you side with the player on that one? If you promised him this money, you should pay him. I agree with. So I'll hold out and I won't play. Yeah, I thought it was funny that a punter is getting NIL money. A punter. Like, what are we doing?
Yeah. Well, and I think it's funny that punters go in the portal too. Are they that much in demand by people out there? Apparently.
Well, look at the I have
Huskies and Cougs.
I have the respect for but our guy didn't punt in the Holiday Bowl, did he? No, he went in the portal. Janikowski.
Oh yeah, because Janikowski punted, didn't he?
But the punter for the Huskies, I respect that. He went in the portal. He committed to Nebraska and still punted.
Yeah. Okay.
Hey, good on for the Huskies, and I'm glad Jed Fish went for 2 for those who had the Huskies plus the points.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking at the time too. Yeah, but I popped off on Twitter. You know how I pop off and say stupid stuff a lot? And I do it prematurely at times.
Yeah.
I was just, I tweeted something about how nice it was to watch the Huskies lose another game, but then they proceeded to have this, remarkable comeback from 14 down or whatever.
Yeah.
And shit, Puck, that quarterback of theirs.
Real good.
Oh my God.
Real good.
Like we've all seen quarterbacks get out of sacks before, but that one on that winning drive that he got out of that sack somehow. And then I thought, well, he's just getting rid of that ball. That's either going to be intercepted or incomplete, but no. Yeah. There was a Husky receiver there, and they gained 25 or 30 yards on it. That was a sensational play.
Unbelievable.
If I'm a Husky fan, I'm encouraged by that kid and what he might do next season. God.
Of course you should be encouraged by him.
Can't he get in the portal?
Can we push him into the portal? You know who's back out of the portal, though?
Zevi.
Oh, Zevi.
Yeah,
Zevi's out of the portal. So is your guy. He bleeds crimson blood for life. Josh Meredith is back. So is Trey Shackelford back. But how about, my only thing is with Zevi, I think the reason Zevi's back is because they couldn't get the guy from South Dakota State is probably my guess.
You think? Yeah. Well, now the South Dakota State kid's like, I was going to follow you there, Jimmy, but not so much anymore.
Well, there's like 2 things. One, what I also released this week, in between the days that we were off, we have Dynamic Duos is out. That's for paid subscribers, though. If you want to listen to it, you have to join Puck's Posse. Just $5 a month, though. But also I released the Who is Jimmy Rogers show. And I had this guy who played with Jimmy at South Dakota State. His name's Kyle Sheehan. Great guest. He hosts a podcast called Splitting Hairs Podcast, covers all things Jackrabbits football. And he played with Rogers.
That's a great name for his podcast, by the way.
It's a great name. That's what I told him. I said, that is an all-time great name.
Yeah,
Splitting
the
Hairs
Hares for the Jackrabbits. Yeah, that's awesome.
And he played with Rogers, and so we had him on, and then I had Jason Gesser on as well because I wanted Gesser. I sent Gesser a note. I said, hey, just look at their offense and just tell me what are we going to expect from their offense. So Sheehan was great, but Sheehan told me about Gronowski was because he was kind of family friends with him. Is that
quarterback there?
The quarterback. He's the quarterback. He's the number 1 quarterback in the portal. He goes, I think he's going to go to the pros, but if he doesn't go pros, I think there's going to probably be a bigger school that will probably nab him. He said the guy to watch would be the backup. And if you watch any of their games, he's number 7. Mason is his name. And he's huge. That kid's like 6'3", 240. A beast. All that entire – you go look at South Dakota State's roster, by the way. I swear to God, it's bigger than Wazoo's roster. And it's not even close. In terms of size. It's amazing. But he said Mason was the guy that they should go after, but then Mason, I think, reaffirmed his commitment to the Jackrabbits.
But it looks like we're going to get their best receiver.
The Wild, is it Wild?
Griffin Wild?
Yeah. Well, has he made an announcement yet?
Well, I don't think so, but didn't he have one of those do not contact me even though I'm in the portal?
Yeah. So that episode, and it's great because Sheehan talks about Rogers' philosophy. It's up on YouTube. It's up on Apple, Spotify, wherever you get your podcasts, all your podcast platforms, your favorite ones. So Sheehan just talks about his defensive philosophy. his DNA as a coach, what makes him successful, what made him successful as a player, now carries over to being a coach. It's really good. And then Gesser does a great 20-minute breakdown of what to expect from the offense. And he's just like, this will be night and day from what you've grown accustomed to the last decade or so. Night and day.
Which means you're going to love it.
Well, I'm going to love it. I like running the ball more, for sure. I want more balance. Can they play the style of offense that he wants to play? I don't know. That's a pretty big transition. Pretty big transition, especially up front with the offensive line. But it will be an offense that's more run first, heavy attack. It's a lot like Gesser said it's very similar to what Boise does. Very similar to that.
Well, okay.
So
I'll go for that. I know, Puck, you've been talking about that. I mean, you like some concepts of the air raid, but you'd like to see more running from the Cougs. And I've always thought winter months there in November in Pullman.
Right.
Well, it'd be nice to have. It's nice to close out games when you have a lead with a running attack. That was one of the things with Leach's offense. We had a hard time closing out games when we had leads. Because incomplete passes, I believe, stop the clock.
And you got to mirror, though, right, Jim? You got to mirror. You have to mirror your offense with your defense. He wants a defense that gives up. Like his philosophy there is like we want to give up 10 points a game. That's it. That's all he wants to give up. So you have to marry that defensive philosophy with an offense. So part of the offense is keeping the ball away, right, from the other team's offense. So that's running the ball, controlling the clock. It's going to be different. I do think that next year will be a learning curve for them, just because I don't know if they've got all the personnel to be able to pull it off, especially with the offensive line. But I think once they go into their new conference in 2026, I think that they'll be okay. But it's a good hour show with Kyle Sheehan, again, Splitting Hairs podcast, and also Jason Gesser breaking down the offensive side of the ball, what to expect from the new look Wazoo team next year. And then what else we got?
Can you imagine, though, just for a second there, Anne McCoy, we should give her credit for that because she hired David Riley. Yeah. And imagine if she hits another home run with Jimmy Rogers, which potentially she could.
Right.
Another guy from a smaller school. And I also like, I'm probably putting too much into this, I like that he's coming from a small town, Brookings, South Dakota. Yeah. And so he'll be used to Pullman. Cold weather, clearly, it won't bother him when the weather's crummy there in Pullman. It's probably a very small thing, but I thought, God, he probably will think that Pullman's, kind of cool compared to Brookings, So,
hey, speaking of Anne McCoy, I'm going to be taping an interview with Anne McCoy today at 1:00. So we'll have that. We're going to have that later this afternoon. I'll have that out. And a lot of questions. Nice job. A lot of questions for Anne McCoy. What do you want to hear from Anne McCoy? Here's where I'm going to start. One, I want to know that day where Dickert told her, because I was on the press conference with her, and I asked her, "Do you feel betrayed?" She said, "I don't feel betrayed, but I want it more in like you feel let down."
Get the timeline figured out a little more.
Yeah, what the timeline? Do you feel let down? Do you feel like you were let down? You weren't able to counter an offer from Jake? I want to know about, because she hasn't talked publicly since that story from Canzano came out that Kirk Schultz apparently had $2 to $4 million available to him by the Board of Regents to go to the football department, and thus kept it a secret from her.
Do you think she'll politically correct her way through the interview? Because I would think privately she's probably upset with Schultz, but wants to be classy with her response.
I don't know what she's going to say with that.
Can you get the unclassy out of her, maybe?
I will try. I will try.
You don't have to try with me.
Okay. Now, I'm going to save this because Lofa's here. We're going to talk to Lofa Tatupu, get the latest here with the Seahawks here momentarily. I'm going to save what's going on with Jim Mora and that stupid tweet he put out. We're gonna do that after we talk to Lofa, okay?
Okay, I'm curious about that because I haven't heard about that.
Have you seen it?
No.
Okay. All right. Well, we're gonna I'm going to read it to you coming up. It's very odd. But let's talk a little Seahawks. They got their final game coming up. Oh, look, he's in the USC gear. He's got a freshly clean shaved head. Ladies and gentlemen, it's Lofa Tatupu, linebacker, former linebacker of the Seahawks. He's with us. He joins us every Friday at 10:20. His appearance brought to you by 1937 Farms, family-owned and operated craft cannabis tucked away in beautiful Snoqualmie Valley, 1937farms.com. You can follow them on Instagram. Also, Savage Brewing Company. And you can check out Lofa's podcast. Everyone's got a podcast. Lofa's all-day podcast, wherever you find your podcast. Lofa, welcome into 2025. Happy New Year, sir.
Happy New Year indeed, fellas. How we doing?
We're doing great. We're doing great. Is it weird? How many times, if at all, have you been in a position like these guys are going to be in position on Sunday where you're playing a game and it's for nothing?
Yeah, you can't even play spoiler. That's horrible. But there are some incentives to be made. So
yes, there are.
hopefully those guys go out and get them, right? Because I know how hard it is to get. I don't think I had incentives in my rookie contract to make the Pro Bowl, and then I said, hey, let's keep that one in there, and they're like, nah, you're done. And I was like, okay. But we didn't have tackle incentives or sacks or interceptions. I wonder if defensive players, when did that fantasy aspect come to the contracts?
I don't know. But you would have. Hey, do you know this? Jim may not know this. We're talking to someone who's like legendary status here with the Seahawks. You mentioned Pro Bowl. Devin Witherspoon has made a Pro Bowl. He's made the Pro Bowl in his first 2 years as a member of the Seattle Seahawks. He joins a very exclusive club that includes Russell Wilson, Fred Young, with two Ds, Fred Young, Rufus Porter, and some guy named Lofa Tatupu.
Hey, all right up. Thank you.
How about that?
I said Dev was going to make it again, and I know the numbers weren't there, in terms of stats, that everybody's like, because there's always somebody that has a breakout year with like 4 or 5 picks that they have a gripe, right? But what this kid's been doing consistently, and the coverage, since analytics have come into play and how low percentage of QBR is against him. I mean, he plays 3 different positions. I'm surprised he didn't make it at all 3. Like, he's played safety, nickel, and outside corner. So this is a special talent. He is really one of the greatest players I've ever seen.
Well, Lofa, what about it, though? Shouldn't some of the other Seahawks have made it, too? Like Leonard Williams, maybe JSN. I imagine, Williams sounded like he felt like he was really snubbed.
He was. I mean, just that guy had an incredible year. And I think 9 sacks. His pressure rating was 3rd or 4th in the league. And then for D tackles, and then a bunch of tackles to go with a 92-yard interception return for a touchdown. That was incredible. So, yeah, he got snubbed. Unfortunately, sometimes if you don't make the playoffs or your team is not on fire or in the spotlight, doing well, these things happen. But hopefully it'll piss him off to play even harder next year, which I don't even know if it's possible how well he played. But yeah. And then JSN, look, he's had a great year. I've said it all time on my podcast this whole year. It's impressive what he's doing. But when you look at the guys that made it, and I'm sure it was A.J. Brown, maybe Terry McLaurin, because I don't even know who made it. But he's approaching that stardom level, that status. But these are guys that have been doing it for several years, and that gets taken into accountability because offense or defense are trying to shut these guys down. Like, they sometimes commanding double teams on A.J. Brown. McLaurin, I think he's had like 5 different quarterbacks passing to him, one every year, and he still puts up numbers, and his average is crazy. So that's just kind of the way it goes.
You talked about incentives, and I think the one that's got the most incentives coming up on Sunday is going to be Geno. He's got $6 million on the line, Lofa.
Yeah.
So if you're Geno, do you go to Grubb this week and just say, "Hey man, you want $500,000? How much do you want? Let's call a pass play every single time." What's the over/under on how many passes you think Ryan Grubb calls on Sunday? 50.5. You taking the under or over 50.5?
judging off of what I've seen this year, way over. Hammer that over. But also, if I'm Geno and I'm close, I'm audible into a pass. DK, go long.
I'm going to audible. Jim, I'm going to audible on a pass on every play. Every play.
Well, Lofa, I don't quite understand that. I love incentives for team wins, team titles, division titles, that type of thing. But when you start putting in pass completion rate, he's at 70% right now, and he needs to have at least 69.7. I mean, that to me would be like, if I'm Geno, okay, I'm going to make this decision now. Instead of like forcing it to DK, well, look, hey, Zach's open out there in the flat. Yeah. I mean, so I don't quite get that. I don't understand that.
Hey, boys, we're going shovel pass.
I know.
He's going to throw, fellas, he's going to throw every time he can. Every time. First of all, there's no running game, right? There's no Walker. Charbonnet, that hasn't really worked out. They can't really run the ball anyways. I mean, he's going to get 2 plays in his mind. They're going to have the box. I mean, they'll have 2 guys rushing, and he's going to be like, you know what? They're going to drop 9. He's like, I still think I can hit DK over the middle.
I got this. I got 2 million reasons why I think I got this.
But it's got to be weird, though, for him. Like, how do you – like, the human nature in you, right, is to be team guy first. But, I mean, you've got 6 million reasons to not be a team guy on Sunday.
Yeah, but, he still will put the team first. And I think it's 10 wins. He wants to win.
Yeah.
Right? And then what's the other one? It's the completion percentage.
Yeah.
So he's been efficient with the ball, minus the picks, of course, but he's been efficient if he's sitting there right around 70. So that's a close one. But and I think the other one's yards. So, but I know what you're saying, Jim. It's like, how do you have these in? But right now I feel like the mood in the team is like, okay, we want to win 10 games, double digits, a game better than we were last year. So we are improving. It's just wild that we're not in the playoffs with that record. But because of what's happened in the NFC North, like 3 10-win teams over there, 2 14-win teams. But you're happy for the guy. I remember when Russ checked a shovel pass to, I forget who it was. Was it Moore at the very end?
Oh, yeah.
We got him the setup. So I don't know if ownership's necessarily happy with that, but.
I forgot about that. Yeah, I mean, ownership or the general manager's going like, what are we doing? Well, don't do that.
But I bet you, I know the agents are talking to these guys like, hey, this is what you need.
Yeah.
I don't think any of the guys are going through their contract like, I need this, and this. But the agent is probably picked up the phone and said, hey, we're this close away from that. Right?
Yeah.
Where are you, Lofa, with Geno as far as quarterback of the future? I know he's under contract for 1 more year, but I'm thinking if I'm Geno and his agent, I'm sure is thinking the same thing. I mean, you look at some of these other quarterbacks, Kirk Cousins, all these guys that are overpaid, thinking, well, my client's better than him. He should be making 40 to 50, and the Seahawks only are thinking 25 to 30. Where would you slot him, Lofa?
It's tough. I just with that much commitment to a quarterback, they have to carry the team, which he has done for 2 years, right? This is the only year we were actually defensively, in the top half of rankings. And I know we were somewhere around 5 after the bye week, right? So it's incredible that he did finally get help on the defensive side. Still has not had a running game since he took over, even despite having 2 of the best running backs in the league, in my belief. So it's tough to really, and then you go after the age, right? He's 34, 35. But he doesn't have a skill set that's going to erode, for his arm. He's got one of the best arms and most accurate arms. And so, I wonder what happened with him regressing and throwing the interceptions because he didn't do it 2 years ago. And is it the coaching change, a new playbook? I don't know what it is, but, I still think he's around that $40 million price tag and worth it. And, I know a lot of people, they've been like, oh, you're crazy, Loaf. Hey, I just know he's tough. He gets the job done. In the clutch, he's had the most comeback wins because he's had to. He didn't have a top 5 defense to keep the other opponents down. So he's had to come back and win, and he's done it more than anybody else. So that clutch factor is so much bigger than there's a lot of guys go out there and hand it off and then throw to a wide open guy when everything's going right. What about when the shit hits the fan? I know Geno steps up, and so that's what I love about him.
You know what I like too, Lofa? I like that he takes accountability, and even when there's times when he's intercepted and it's the receiver's fault, he always takes the blame, and so he's got to earn respect in the locker room for that.
Oh, they love him. They love him, and they fight for him. You know, that's like why we played for Haas. You know, Haas, he'd come over after throwing a bad pick. He's like, hey, give me the ball back. I'll go down and take it, score. And he would. And so that belief is bigger than anything. And, you know, I see, all these contracts that other guys have, it's crazy because I know, you know, Geno's agent's calling him. He's like, why don't we get you somewhere where there's a run game? We don't care who's out there at receiver because we know you can put it on the money with the run game and not, you know, when they load the box and you have true one-on-one coverage all around the board, that they're in trouble.
It is going to be interesting with that cap hit being at $38 million next season for him. What do? They just do. I wonder if they just let him play on that, and don't do anything beyond this year, and then try to find whoever their quarterback is going to be in 2026. I'm going to be real curious if they're going to commit any more money past next season to him. Yeah,
no, I hear you, and you know, it remains to be seen. Maybe a restructuring of some sort to get the number a little lower, but I don't know how much extra time they would put on the contract, like you're saying, or an extension of a year. I mean, but quarterback's tough to find, man. Like you find every position. Quarterback is tough to find, and I really think my firm belief is I need a guy that's a leader and that's tough, right? Someone that guys want to play for, and you find that, you know, you'll be all right, man, because now you got the team just rallying around the guy rather than like, oh, here we go again, you know?
Yeah. Sure sounds like, though, sorry, Jim, let me just jump in. It sure sounds like that this is going to be the final game for Tyler Lockett. He's talking that way. He has a huge cap number next season. There's no way that he's going to play on that number. And he's going to go down as one of the best Seahawks wide receivers this organization's ever seen.
One of the greatest Seahawks we've ever seen. The numbers are incredible. What he's done for where he was drafted, and just the humility and humble guy that he is, like, and how much he's done in the community. It's a sad day. I'm going to say that much. If this is his last game, and I hope we feed him. Just give it to him. If that's what it's going to be, then just let him go out on a high note, because all those spectacular catches. We won against the Rams, which I still don't know how he didn't tear both hip flexors laying out for that ball. And just unbelievable talent and a great guy.
Yeah, I was just wondering about that. Since the game doesn't mean anything, why not just force feed Lockett all day long and let him have 100 yards and, you know, 10 receptions, whatever? But it'd be kind of fun to see that, wouldn't it?
Yeah, I mean, you know, they're not going to double him. Let him go. Let him do it, and let him. I don't want to think about him not playing for the Hawks. It's tough, like with all the guys, Wags, KJ, you know, all of them, man. But you know, time gets us all. Father Time gets us all. So
what if, you know, because what is it? JSN's 5 away from breaking his single season record in terms of receptions in a season. What if, like, JSN is 1 catch away and then all of a sudden it's coming to him and Lockett steps in front of him to grab it? That's kind of what I'm hoping to see, Lofa. I want to see that type of teammate.
Good receivers attack the ball, but you know that's not in his character. You know he'll go down and just try to throw a block in there. Yeah. But yeah, that. Or what if he gets the record and then they pull JSN, like, all right, no more for you.
Yeah. We're just going to throw it what if, like, JSN's targets, like, he's averaging, I don't know how many targets he's been averaging lately, but it's a lot. Yeah. Let's say, you know, we look at the box score Sunday and he's got like 3 targets and Lockett's got 17 targets. They just have been going at him nonstop.
I hope he just has a great game, man. If this is really it and the send off, and you know, I think he still has some ball in him, but I just hope he doesn't play for somebody else. I don't want to see him in another uniform.
Yeah, these games are weird though, aren't they? I mean, you've probably played in some meaningless games. Are they harder to get up for? I mean, can you summon the pride, or like what percentage of players are out there giving it their all, and which ones aren't? And can you tell me, in which games I should look for that so I can bet on the team that has more players that are playing hard than the other?
Well, I mean, I don't ever remember guys just throwing it in. I mean, just like, oh, it doesn't mean I'm trying to think. Only 2008 did we, because 2009 I missed 11, 12 games, so I didn't have a chance to be a spoiler there. But in 8, that was the only other one that was where we had nothing to play for. But we beat the Jets. We beat for Holmgren's last game.
Yeah.
And it was snowing, and I think we played the Packers the year before in 2007 where it was snowing and we were up 14-0, and then they just beat us 40-20 or something like that. But I remember this was my pregame locker room speech. I said, "Hey, when Brett Favre was with the Packers last year, it was 3rd and 1, and this motherfucker threw a bomb on us. I go, kick his ass." So we went out there and won one for Holmgren. But I remember, we were laying hits. No bounty gate, right? We didn't pay each other. We just good old fashioned fun.
I remember that when he walked around the field too, and then people were throwing snowballs at him.
Those were Jets fans. They were obviously New Jersey.
You remember? I remember, like, what are you doing? Why are you guys throwing snowballs at our coach, for God's sakes? Hey, we talked about Lockett. We talked a little bit about Geno. I think another interesting, and we'll probably do this again next week, maybe in a few more weeks, because we still have NFL to talk about. But will be this discussion about DK Metcalf and what they'll do. I don't know where you stand on it. Listen, they've been trying to find. Here's my stance. They've been trying to find this type of wide receiver forever. We've never had this guy in the existence of this franchise, and now we have him. And I just don't want to give up on him. I just don't think you can find a replacement for him. I do think there's some things that everyone can get better at. He has been better with his attitude this year. He only had that one incident that he had last week or in the Bears game. But there are times that when you start thinking about Lofa of committing a lot of money to him, where I don't know if it's his fault, if it's the coach's fault, is it the coordinator's fault, is it the quarterback's fault, where he just kind of is not there. It's like disappeared. And that's not what you expect from a number one guy that you're about to pay, top dollar to. Where do you stand right now with DK?
I love him. I'm glad that he's worked hard on his attitude, and this is a guy that has the right to gripe like all these other guys that have been griping, like, I need more targets. And his targets are substantially lower than those guys, right? So, and that's, factors into the yards and everything like that. And I just, that's a guy that you got to target in the red zone. Like, for me, and then you have to send him deep at least 2 or 3 times a game, maybe even 4. I think last week I told you I'd send him deep twice a quarter if I could. Him catching the ball at full speed is a real problem for any defender because, even if you can catch up to him, good luck actually having your feet under and your power to actually get him down because he was just as heavy as I was, 240 pounds. But he does garner double teams and a lot of attention, and it frees up other guys, which is why we saw JSN take the step forward this year. But I understand going back and forth why pay that, but he frees up a lot of guys, and so remains to be seen. But I just go back, man. We were throwing him that drag route, and he was catching the drag and going to the house. Throwing just the deep route and just outrunning guys, and Geno was putting it out there. And so it's just I just don't see us using him like that. I wouldn't have him run the traditional route tree. I'd be like, dude, you are the deep threat. You are the speed and the power. You're going to get it on the slant, and I just want you to run through the first 2 guys that try to get in your way.
Hey, all in all, looking back on the season, though, wasn't it a good year for the Seahawks? I know the expectations, they fell short of making the playoffs and winning the division when they were in the lead at one point, and people bitching about Ryan Grubb. But when you look at that offensive line, the defensive issues they had earlier in the season, I look at it and go, hey, man, these guys are 9-7. That seems like a pretty good season, whether they lose to the Rams or not, and finish with 10 wins or 9.
Yeah, and, a first-time ever head coach, 36 years old, had a kid in the middle of the season. like put together staff later than anybody else for the first time in his career. I thought it was a remarkable job by him and the coaches and the players. And, I just want to go back. We could go back and revisit everybody's expectation. The expectation wasn't to win the division from, the experts and all that. They're like, oh, they'll be third. We got San Fran first. Then we got the Cardinals and then the Rams. And some of us picked us to go last. I had the Rams. The only team I was scared about was the Rams because of experience with McVay. I said the Niners were getting old. And when you get old, you get injured. I know. And so, I just saw they were playing ball for too long. They had 5 years of playoff ball where they were playing into late January. That wears on a team. And then especially when you just don't get over the hump to at least, win, they get to the Super Bowl, but to win one of them, I think they've been to 2 in the last 5 years. That's, it's tough, right? But, so I think it was a great year. Obviously record-wise, were we frustrated? Yes, by some of the close game. But we only had one game where we were blown out. And it was the Bills, and it didn't happen until the middle of the third quarter to the fourth quarter. That one was the only game where we just were not in, right? So this is the foundation, right? And fortunately for Pete, in his first year, the foundation was 7-9 and going to the playoffs. And so everybody was like, oh, we're back in the playoffs for the first time in 3 years. And, I'm just like, man, I don't know if we even deserve this, but we're going to go because those are the rules. And then we shocked the world champs, the Saints. The beast mode happened. So, but it was, I thought it was a great year.
Yeah. All right. Before you leave us and we get ready for the final game there against the Rams, we've got to do our highest performer of the weekend. Brought to you by 1937 Farms, family owner operated craft cannabis tucked away in Snoqualmie Valley. Visit 1937farms.com. Follow them on Instagram at 1937 Farms. Lofa, who do you got? Highest performer of the weekend. Last one.
I want to go Big Cat just because I know he's going to be real pissed off and kick major ass. But I'm going with Old Faithful. Tyler Lockett one more time.
Okay. All right. I like the Tyler Lockett. Yeah, I'm telling you, I think Tyler Lockett's going to try and get away with a couple of passes intended for JSN, and he's going to rip them away. He's going to run the wrong route, knowing what the route's going to be, knowing that he's going to go to JSN. He's going to step in front of the ball. All right, Jim, who do you got? Highest performer of the weekend?
I'm going to go with Charbonnet. Is he playing?
I'm sure. You tell me.
I don't want to come out and say, yeah, I'm going to go with K9, and then I know he's not playing.
Well, K9's not playing.
I'm going to go with Charbonnet. K9 out. I still like Zach Charbonnet as maybe the future number one back in Seattle. I know that's crazy, but K9 with the durability issues, and we'll see. But I'm going to go with my guy, Zach Charbonnet. You like those UCLA guys too, don't you, Lofa?
No comment. No comment.
You guys left the obvious one to me. I mean, the guy's going to throw the ball 59 times on Sunday. Give me Geno Smith, the highest performer of the weekend. There's not going to be one play where he doesn't throw. He's checking out of every run play Ryan Grubb calls, and he's going to be throwing it all over the place. Give me Geno Smith for my highest performer of the weekend. Lofa's going with Tyler Lockett. Jim's going with Zach Charbonnet. All right, Lofa, have a great weekend. We will catch up with you again next week, and we'll talk about going forward, how many more times we want to do it, have you on. We'd love to have you on as much as you want. It's going to be a crazy offseason. There'll be a lot to talk about this offseason here for the Seahawks.
Oh, I'm going to stick around in the background here and watch. I want to know what my guy Jim Mora said.
Oh, okay. No, everybody wants to know what Jim Mora says. All right, Lofa, we'll talk to you. There he is, Lofa Tatupu, with us every single Friday at 10:20. All right, Zach Charbonnet. Gee, how could you not go with Geno Smith, man?
Well, I was going to, but that just seemed like too obvious of a pick.
Well, of course it's too obvious.
And you love Geno because he's going to pocket you $250 if he starts.
That's right. Hey, I promise. Hey, promise me we're going to get to the Jim Mora thing. Going to get to Jim Mora, but he's waiting. We've got to get a PuckSports handicapper, ladies and gentlemen. Troy West from TroyWins.com. He joins us every single Friday, give us the latest and best gambling advice that we could possibly ask for. Troy, how are you?
Doing good. How about Leonard Williams, guys? That guy's going to be a little ticked off on Sunday. I think that's my pick for the top performer. He got hosed on not making the Pro Bowl, didn't he?
He certainly did. All right, he did. You're right about that. I think he's gonna have like that. I always call it the Jefferson game from Fast Time Ridgemont High. I think he's gonna have one of those contests where he just makes like every single tackle. All right, Troy, before we get to your picks, of course, share with everyone what they get when they go to TroyWins.com.
Yeah, guys, we're running a great special right now. 7 days for free. You pay absolutely nothing. 7 days for free. That gets you in the door. That's all plays. That's VIP. We cover absolutely everything. We cover golf. We cover basketball, football, UFC. You name it, we cover it. It's TroyWins.com. I truly believe we're a one-stop shop when it comes to the handicapping industry.
Perfect. All right, go to TroyWins.com. All right, we don't need to go over the record last week. It was a tough one. You got your at least you got your lock of the week. You're unbelievable in the lock of the weeks. You're killing it there. I believe you're 8-2 in your lock of the week's last 10 games. And then we'll get to our dogs of the week, but we got to go through all the games coming up here this week. Well, let's just before we get to this week's games, what game last week surprised you? Like the bowl games?
You know, well, you were right on your dog of the week. I did think Texas was going to rout Arizona State. What we saw from Arizona State in that fourth quarter, I mean, I knew Scatterbo was good. I didn't realize he was that good. And I think it's funny looking at some of these mock drafts. I've heard the guy might not even get drafted. I mean, I think he kind of reminds me of Austin Eckler. I mean, the guy's just a tough SOB. That was interesting. Penn State, Boise kind of went how I thought it would go. I thought maybe Boise put up a little bit more of a fight. I did not see the Oregon score going that way. I did think that they would lose that game, but not in that facet. But Ohio State, you know, the Smith kid, I mean, I knew he was a good player, but for him to come out and have a game like that, I mean, that kind of came out of left field. And Will Howard looked like Peyton Manning all of a sudden. It would be interesting to see if Ohio State can repeat that performance, because we haven't really seen that offense look like that all year.
They destroyed them. I mean, that Rose Bowl, I was looking so forward to that game.
Me too.
It just was a laugher from the get-go. It just was not even a game at all. And Arizona State should have won the game. They should have won the game.
Why wasn't that targeting?
And that's targeting 100 times out of 100. And I'm convinced, I'm absolutely convinced, because there's been precedent set, because it happened in our conference, that when they went to the replay, there was some guy, the Woody Dixon of whoever that crew was, in the year of that replay official, and said, we cannot call that targeting, because then that's going to set up Arizona State for a potential game-winning field goal, and we need Texas to win. I'm convinced of it. You can't convince me otherwise. You can think I have some conspiracy theory. I don't care. There is no other explanation than college football and those who govern that sport wanted Texas to win the game.
I don't necessarily disagree, but the hit itself, I'll be honest, when I watched it live, I was thinking there's no way they're calling that targeting, because, I mean, it was such a great time to hit. I mean, the guy catches the ball over the middle. It's 4th and 5. My first instinct was they're not going to call it. Then, obviously, when you get the camera angle and whatnot, he does somewhat lead with the head. But I'm with you. I think it was more they would have hate to see the game end on a targeting call like that. With how
there
well
wasn't one. Yeah, there wasn't one official, retired current official, that said that shouldn't have been called targeting. Not one.
Yeah,
not
I'm
one.
with you.
I mean, it's just. I don't know. I mean, if that's
Puck,
not targeting,
you're going
what's
back to
targeting?
that Minshew night, aren't you? That Gardner Minshew night.
That's the Gardner Minshew. It's a USC night where they didn't call targeting, and Woody Dixon is in the control booth at the San Francisco studios, overriding the replay official, which he had no right to do. I'm telling you, someone there was overriding the decision of that because they wanted to give Texas another chance to win the game.
Yeah, I was listening to the Sun Devils announcers calling the game as I was driving along, and they were beside themselves. They were talking conspiracy theories just like you are. And
well, and again, I mean, their kicker was terrible, so maybe they don't, it makes it the point moot anyways, because it would be a long field goal, but at least it sets them up. Maybe they get down there more. And
I think they got to be more disappointed on their defense on 4th and 13. I mean, how do you not have two safeties over the top of the field?
True.
4th and 13, the guy runs wide open 20. I mean, that was, to me, That was shocking. That was shocking to me to see. They blitzed the house, which I didn't understand that either. They should have had everybody just playing right at that 13. They had to get 13 yards, and there's nobody in the secondary. That blew my mind.
Yeah, that was a bad play. All right, let's get to the games coming up. Let's first start with Notre Dame and Penn State won semifinals. Notre Dame, who looked great, man, they looked great against Georgia. They looked. I've never seen a Notre Dame team that big and that fast than what we saw last night. There in New Orleans at the Sugar Bowl. Notre Dame favored by 1.5 over Penn State. Who do you got?
Yeah, I like Notre Dame in this game. Like you said, they looked good. They're great on both sides of the ball. Riley Leonard is one tough kid. I love watching him play quarterback. He was good at Duke. He's been outstanding at Notre Dame. The guy he puts his shoulder down and goes. I just think Notre Dame's the more complete football team. I think Penn State's gonna have trouble moving the ball. Give me Notre Dame in a close one, 28-24, but I'll take the Fighting Irish.
Good.
All right, Troy, the other semifinal, Texas, your Longhorns getting 6 against Ohio State.
Yeah, I think 6 is a huge overreaction. If Ohio State plays the exact same game against Oregon, yes, they probably win this game by a touchdown or more. But I think Texas's defense is much better than Oregon's defense. I think Texas is good on offense. They're going to hang in this football game. I think it's a really good football game. Buckeyes probably take care of business, 31-28, but I think the Longhorns, they hang in this game. I would buy it up to 7. I'd feel pretty good about getting a touchdown.
Okay. There's something about Quinn Ewers. I don't like him.
He is so nonchalant at times. I agree. I mean, sometimes he looks like Peyton Manning back there, and other times he looks like he doesn't know what he's doing. But I think he'll have his A game ready to go.
If their offensive line gets pushed around like they got pushed around against a small Arizona State team, they're going to have problems in that game there against Ohio State. Ohio State just looks unbelievable right now in their first 2 games. All right, let's go to the NFL. Seahawks, they have got nothing to play for coming up on Sunday, Troy. But the Seahawks find themselves almost a touchdown favorites, 6.5-point favorites against the Rams.
Yeah, I think this is one of those pride games for the Seahawks. Geno Smith wanted to go into the offseason looking better than he has. Guys like Metcalf, Leonard Williams. I think these guys are going to come to play. On the other side of the football, you've got Jimmy Garoppolo starting, making his debut. I know the Rams are sitting some offensive linemen. I fully expect them to sit Kyron Williams. Sounds like Blake Corum will get the handful of the carries here. I can't imagine a situation that you throw Cooper Kupp out and guys like Puka, who have been banged up out throughout the course of the year. I think the Seahawks win this one in a big way. I just don't think the Rams are going to have any motivation. Like I said, Sean McVay's already looking ahead for that playoff matchup. Give me the Seahawks in a big way, 31-10.
Hey, Troy, how hard is it to handicap the NFL in the last week of the season? Because you've got some teams that are, fighting for a playoff berth going against a team that's just playing out the string, and then you don't know who's going to be rested for other teams for the playoffs. And so, but is it built into the line? Is it built into the point spread, or what do you look for? What kind of factors do you look for?
Yo, you're right. I mean, we are constantly checking that injury report, constantly Googling, Rams football to see, okay, we heard obviously the Matt Stafford news, but who else is sitting, right? You've got to do that with every single game this final week to find out who's going to be resting and who's not. I mean, we saw Dan Campbell last Monday night. A lot of people had the 49ers getting a field goal and a hook, and Dan Campbell in a meaningless game for the Lions plays balls out and ends up laying 40 on the Niners and winning the game. So, you get that mindset, and then you get the mindset of Sean McVay going, hey, there's no way in hell I'm risking anybody on Sunday in a meaningless game. Let's look forward to the playoffs. So you really got to look at the coaching. You've got to look at the rosters, look at injury reports, all that good stuff.
Well, speaking of Dan Campbell, that's the game of the week. The Lions taking on the Vikings. The Lions a 2.5-point favorite in the game.
I'm going with the Vikings. I just think the Vikings right now are clicking on all cylinders. I think the Lions defense has some deficiencies. Give me the Vikings and Sam Darnold. Their offenses look so good. Their defense has been good enough getting stops. They're going to win this game, and the Lions are going to be the 5 seed. Give me the Vikings in a shootout, 34-31.
Okay, we got to do our locks of the week. Well, your lock of the week, and then we got to get to our dogs of the week. Troy, quickly, your lock of the week is?
I'm going right back to it, Seattle. I've had this one circled. They opened up as a 1-point underdog. Obviously, the line shift all the way to 6.5 now. Give me the Seahawks minus 6.5. Already, put the points out there. I just think the Rams, you're going to get their C-plus game at best. Jimmy G is going to be rusty. I think the Seahawks have enough pride. They win this one big, 31-10.
All right, 31-10. We got to get to our dogs of the week. And currently, look at this guy in the lead, in the clubhouse leader right now at 4-2 at Arizona State plus the points, 13.5 last week. Jim's got the first tie of the year because he had the Cougs at 17.
It went off at 18.5.
It did.
Yeah, but you took him at 17.
I don't care. Give me the benefit of the doubt.
Troy, you had Boise last week plus 11. Troy, what's your dog of the week this week?
I'm going with the Cleveland Browns. Ooh. Give me 20.5 points. I think this is a game that the Ravens win handedly, but I think 20.5 is a lot of points in an NFL game. The Browns can still run the ball. They can still play a little bit of defense. DTR has not looked good. I get it. I think the Ravens win this game, but you're looking at, to me, even 35-17 gets me a cover. I'll take the Browns plus 20.5.
Love it. Jim, what do you got?
I'm going to go with Russell Wilson at home. The Steelers getting 2.5 against the Bengals. I know the Steelers probably won't have anything to play for with Baltimore winning the division the day before, but I'm still going to take Mike Tomlin as a home dog plus the 2.5.
I love it. That's a great pick. Steelers plus 2.5 there against the Bengals. Need all kinds of help, right? They need a win. They need Denver and Miami, I think, both to lose. I think in that scenario for them to get in. Of course, that's the team that nobody wants to see, and rightfully so. I mean, Burrow and Jamar Chase and all those guys, they're playing just absolutely incredible football right now. You know what? I know they're not going to play anybody, but it's just something tells me that somehow the Chiefs are going to still pull out. At least it will be close, and that they will somehow cover the spread. It's 10.5. They're not going to play anyone. Give me the Chiefs plus 10.5. At Mile High, taking on the Denver Broncos. I'm going to take the Chiefs plus 10.5. That's just a huge number. Andy Reid's going to get creative, call some weird plays, and try to maybe spoil the Denver Broncos. Because I can't remember the scenario. The Denver Broncos have to win in order to get in. So we'll see. Give me the Chiefs plus 10.5. Before you go, Puck the Picker, Pigskin Pick'em. We've been doing it all year long. For those playing along, Troy, and, of course, the fine folks there, TroyWins.com, going to provide an all-expenses-paid trip to Las Vegas. Going to stay at the Circa Hotel, dinner at Barry's. First round of the March Madness. We are in the last week of games, so make sure everyone gets in their picks because there's a couple games there on Saturday. And, of course, all the games wrap up on Sunday. Your leaderboard right now, top 5. Dwayne Mathis is number 1 right now at 1,420 points. Thomas O'Hennessy is right behind him, 40 points behind him at 1,380. Then we've got a three-way tie for third with Jason Oldham, Alex Wrighton, and Arv Glenn at 1,337 points. And then a two-way tie with Jeff Shamley and Jeff Johnson at 1,360 for fourth. And a two-way tie there at fifth place with Bryce McCoy and Greg McDonald at 1,350 points. So good luck to all. Get all those final picks in. Trip for 2 to Las Vegas, Nevada on the line, courtesy of our guy, TroyWins.com. You are a man of the people.
Is that not the fastest season of all time? I feel like we just announced the week 1, and that was the fastest 17, 18 weeks I could ever remember.
It did go by fast, faster than normal. Like especially college football went by fast, but yeah, the NFL, it's like already done. Yeah, done. It's weird. All right, one more time plug for TroyWins.com.
Yeah, guys, get to the Instagram. It's Troy West. We give out free picks there all the time. Right now, we're running a special, TroyWins.com. 7 days of service, absolutely free. That's TroyWins.com. 7 days. We give you all the plays. Get to the website. Get on that right away. We'll take care of you through the weekend and next week. We'll have some great stuff for you, and we'd love to take care of you.
I should have come to you for Kapalua, man. I took 2 guys that are just sucking wind on
Who did you take?
I took Batia and Thigala.
Well, that's what I took.
I've got Aaron Rye and Justin Thomas. I need both those guys to pick it up a little bit.
I took Thigala, too, in my golf league. F you, Sahib.
Next to last after round 1.
Unbelievable. I mean, the course, you read everything up on the course and who it fits, and like he's one of the handful of guys, this course fits perfectly for him. And he goes out there, and I tuned it on yesterday and look, and he's like +3. And I'm like, you can't be +3 there. Like they even said it like on 18, like if you're not 7 under or 8 under first round, it's over.
Yeah. Well, yeah, you can't win because the winner's always at 25 under.
Yeah.
Exactly. Yeah.
So,
I love that course, though. God, don't you love watching that thing? The palm trees.
Love it.
I played there on my wedding day.
Oh, what a
Wow.
course.
Shot 79, Troy.
Ah,
Incredible.
No, I'm kidding.
Incredible.
No, I didn't.
Troy, enjoy your weekend, and next week we'll have the we'll be able to announce, and maybe we'll have him on the winner of the Puck to Picker Pigskin Pick'em.
Love it.
Courtesy there of TroyWins.com. Thanks, Troy.
Thanks, guys. Have a great weekend.
Yeah, you as well. There he is. Troy, you follow him on social media. It's Troy West. Go to his website, TroyWins.com, for all the best betting and gambling advice. Yes, Sahith Sagala, you piece of God.
I know.
I mean,
my buddy, my partner, I'm getting texts all the time, during the round, about Thigala and how he's playing. And yeah, you can't be over par at that course. I don't care how windy it is.
And then it's like, it's a no cut, so that's good if you're in one of these golf leagues like me. But then it's like, I'm just going to be behind the 8-ball already to start the season, like completely behind the 8-ball. Now I'm going to be chasing and overreaching for guys. God.
Yeah.
Terrible.
It's so, Puck, you know this.
It's awful. It's the hardest
It's so hard to win at golf, betting-wise.
I don't know how people do it. I really don't. I don't know how people win at it.
And you know what will happen? You know what will happen? Like in Hawaii next week, Thigala will win there.
He'll win the Sony.
Yeah.
It happens every time. Like, and the second guy that I had, I was going to take. And it's always, I swear to God, it's always, oh, well, if I don't take him, I'll take this guy. Who was my runner-up? Corey Connors.
And he played well in the first round.
Yeah, he's 7 under, tied for 4th.
Yeah. Yeah, well, that's the life of golf gambling.
It just drives me nuts, though. It just drives me absolutely insane. All right, I promised we were going to get to this. You've got to make sense. So you have not seen this tweet from Jim Mora, right?
No, but, before you even say what it is, we shouldn't be surprised about anything that Jim Mora says or tweets.
Well, what I don't understand about this, I'm just going to give you some background on Jim Mora. Jim Mora wanted the Washington State job. I mean, wanted it bad. Was calling alumni. Was trying to, and again, I don't know if he even interviewed for the job, by the way. I'm not sure. I'm going to talk to Anne McCoy. I mentioned this earlier in the show. I'm going to talk to Anne McCoy today at 1 o'clock and record something with her. Then it will come out later this afternoon. I'm going to ask her, did you interview him? I mean, there's been reports that Vegan, the head coach at Montana State, flew down to San Diego during the Holiday Bowl to interview. So I don't know if she had a formal interview with Jim Mora. But
I actually have a source that told me there was a phone conversation.
A phone conversation. Oh,
yeah.
There's Kathy. Kathy maybe was in on the interview process there as well.
But you're right. Mora did want that job badly.
He wanted the job desperately. Desperately wanted the job. And we talked about it. And I told you, like, based on that information, based on what we've known, that we were trying to tell people, hey, it could be a reality that he could get the job. He's very adamant to wanting it. Okay, he didn't get it. Whether he wanted it or not, then he has a contract extension and all this. So he tweeted out about a week ago about how college football needs to basically rat out all these coaches and programs that are tampering. That they need him. He basically said in a tweet about a week ago, I'm going to make it. I should start making it public knowledge, these programs that are out there tampering with our kids. And every program, first of all, here's the dirty little secret. Every program is being tampered with. You know what else is happening? Every program, including UCONN, is tampering with other schools. So like when Jake Dickert would talk all this time about how, we're getting tampered with, we got people calling our guys, you're doing the same thing. You're calling other schools to get their guys. The reason they would never give the names of the programs is because they know that they're doing it themselves, right?
Yeah.
So yesterday, I think this was yesterday, maybe 2 days ago, but I think it came out yesterday. He sends out this tweet, does Jim Mora. And here, let me pull it up. Here we go. And you can read it. And it starts off with, quote, "I was originally content with my decision with coming to UConn. I feel like I allowed Washington State to get in my head when I could have just ignored them. I expressed to them that I was signed, but I continued to conversate." End quote. And then Jim Mora continues to write, "Why do grown men continue to manipulate the NCAA football tampering rules and put players in the uncomfortable position this young man was put in? I promise to call out those tampering with our players and threatening what our players are working so hard to build. I intend to continue to do so and hope more college coaches would join me in fighting the blatant tampering taking place." So he called out, of all schools, he calls out Washington State for allegedly tampering with one of his players. Now, is this coincidence that this happened after the fact that he did not get the job? Now that he's going to call out this school, and then he won't go into any detail about it. He won't answer because someone asked him, what players were contacted? "I'm crystal clear in my tweet. Nothing else needs to be said." No. You can't say something like this, Jim Mora, and claim a school is tampering with one of your players, the same school that you were desperately and begging to get the job, calling alums begging to get the job. And if you're not careful, all out the people you called and begged to get the job. You begged to get the job and then now throw this school under the bus? To me, it's sour grapes. Didn't get the job that he wanted. And so now he's going to throw the school under the bus. Does that pretty much sum up it for you?
Yeah. I wasn't aware of that. I mean, I was aware of his interest in the job and thought he might be a good candidate even. And look at UConn, the job he's done there. They won their bowl game. I think maybe it was for their 9th win. So you can make a case for Jim Mora being a good candidate. But yeah, it sounds like he's bitter. And Puck, how often have we ever gone after a UConn player? I mean, if it's a basketball player at UConn, okay, let's keep tampering. But football?
Yeah,
it's odd.
That's the thing. Is it's very, very odd. We would go after a UConn football player, but okay, maybe we did. But who was it? Was it Jake Dickert's staff? I mean, he's no longer the coach. You're telling me Jimmy Rogers reached out to someone at UConn?
Yeah, Jimmy Rogers had ESPN Plus, and he was watching all the UConn games all year and thought, I got to get that kid to Brookings, South Dakota.
Comes across as a coach that interviewed for the job at Washington State and did not get it and was told no. And he desperately wanted the job, and either he didn't get the formal interview he wanted or didn't get the job, and now he's lashing out at the school and claiming that someone from the football program, and won't name if it's Rogers or Dickert. Who cares if it's Dickert? He's not the coach there anymore. Tampered with one of his players and then refuses to go into more detail. I find it funny then, too. He's going to name out all these other schools. He's yet to do that, though. He's yet to name out any of these other schools that have tampered with his players. He says, though, it's rampant within his program of other schools tampering with his kids, but yet is still, to this time, has yet to announce the other schools tampering with his kids.
Well, isn't it funny too that he mentions Washington State? Like, okay, I would think that most schools, that they find out, hey, Washington State's tampering. Well, big deal. We'll just pay the kid more than what they're going to offer.
You mean the school that's got 33 kids in the portal? Like, that's the one school you're going to target? Like, even if, like, Washington State is one of these schools, you're telling me there weren't bigger programs out there tampering with your kids than Washington State?
Yeah, I know.
Thank God he didn't get the job. Jesus.
Yeah, you're right, Jim. We offered the kid a barbecue deal. And just didn't.
Yeah, who gets the barbecue deal now that Mateer is gone? Do we give that to Zevi?
I mean,
does Zevi get the barbecue deal?
I shouldn't poke fun at that, but I mean, it's just because I'm sure it's great barbecue. Have you been there?
I have not been to Miss Huddy's barbecue. I intend the next time I'm in Pullman to make my way to Miss Huddy's barbecue.
And I appreciate that that offer was out there for John Mateer, but in comparison to what everybody else is getting at these bigger programs, yeah, it's amusing, but
yeah. It's a weird thing to tweet.
Moore is that guy. He's always been that kind of guy, though, hasn't he?
Yeah, I guess. But I mean, it was weird because there was part of me that was certainly open to the idea of him at least being a serious candidate for it. But I don't know. To me, that's poor form. That is really poor form from someone who wanted the job, didn't get it, and then now is just going to start airing dirty laundry.
Yeah.
That's.
I've always liked Mora, though. I don't know. Just
me too.
as a media guy, I got along with him really well, for whatever that's worth. I don't know. Did you cross paths with him?
Yeah, times? I mean, yeah, for sure. I thought he was. Yeah, he's always great because here's the thing: he's great with the media is that he'll just say whatever he wants.
Yeah, he had a lot of good quotes.
Before you go, what was it? Some of the other things I was going to bring up. We talked about the Seahawks season ending. Let's see what else.
You got voicemails?
I'm going to save them for next week. I have a few. We'll pile them up for next week. Anne McCoy. I'm going to talk to Anne McCoy coming up later today. We'll have that out later this afternoon. Also I want to promote the Graz and Gas for Puck's Posse members. Sign up, just $5 a month. You sign up, become a Puck's Posse member. All you got to do, folks, is just go to PuckSports.com to sign up there. It's probably the easiest way to do so, and there's a link to it. Also, you can just go to the Patreon site at PuckSports.com. There it is. That's what it looks like. You join. Look at that, $5 a month. That's all it costs you. And you will get the first installment of the dynamic duos with Graz and Gas, over an hour plus, talking about great stories and just how they came together and their relationship and their chemistry together. And we released it last week, so on Monday, so during the holiday. So I would assume most people were off last week and maybe didn't know that we have thrown that out there. But it's out there right now. Just join, become a Puck's Posse member, and you can listen to that full hour of the show. Just an audio version of the show. Also, the Who is Jimmy
Best
Rogers.
Seattle sports talk show ever, Graz with Gas.
Yeah. Without a doubt.
Yeah.
Nothing will
I
ever.
mean, a close second, Wyman, Mike, and Moore.
Mike, and Moore.
Also receiving votes.
Wyman, Mike, and Moore. Pretty good. Not bad. Hey, the Mariners, who still have yet to do nothing.
I know there's the Korean kid, though. It looks like they're zeroing in on him, though.
Well, someone just sent me a tweet saying that he's going to sign with the Dodgers.
Oh, no. Doesn't everyone sign with the Dodgers?
Yeah. Hae-Sung Kim, I believe, is the guy that we're talking about.
If I'm a baseball writer, I'm just saying, screw it. I don't have any sources, but I'm just going to say that so-and-so is signing with the Dodgers, and you're probably going to be right.
Yeah. He apparently the infielder. I know there's like 3 different Hae-Sung Kim, so hopefully I'm getting the right one. Is it Kim Hae-Sung? I believe is the one that we're talking about. He was the middle infielder, doesn't hit for power, good glove, basically Dylan Moore, Willie Bloomquist Part 2. And there was thought that he is. That's what he is.
Well, he swings left-handed, though.
Well, he's left-handed, yeah. But apparently, as some media outlets in Korea report that he has signed with the Dodgers. Yeah, so the Mariners they still haven't done anything.
Hey, you got the Bliss-Moore combo, though.
It's January 3rd, Jim. It's January 3rd. They've done nothing. Unbelievable.
What's the pitcher's catcher's date? February 12th?
Yeah, about a month. Yeah, a little over a month away. Yeah. All right.
All right.
We're going to cut you loose. We'll talk to you on Monday. Hopefully we're rested up and feeling better. There is no Chris Egan today because Chris Egan has come down with the same thing I have come down with, so no Egan today for the show. So, all right.
Okay, hope you feel better, Puck.
Thank you. When we talk on Monday, will you be in Arizona by then?
Be in Arizona by then,
okay.
Yeah.
All right, we'll look forward to a visit there on Monday. All right, we'll see you. Go Cougs.
Okay, Puck, go Cougs.
There he is every Monday, Wednesday, and Friday, the great Jim Mora with us. Yes, no Egan today. Apologies for that. He came down with the same thing that I have got. And once this show is over, I will find myself right back into bed. But we had to do it today. We're glad we're here. One, because I needed to get the Puck the Picker, Pigskin Pick'em things all taken care of, and needed to announce who those finalists were. So that's why we had to do it. And it's the final weekend, for the Seahawks playing the game there on Sunday. All right. Before we go here, we do it every single week. It is, or every single show to end the daily puck drop. Hey, What the Puck, brought to you by Restoration One of North Seattle, your restoration company that lets you avoid the stress of water, fire, mold damage with their property restoration services. Locally owned and operated. Make them your first call when damages affect your residential or commercial property. 206-817-8917. Visit them online at restoration1.com, the North Seattle franchise. We get to the Tyler Lockett situation. He's going to go down as one of the greatest Seahawks ever. Not only wide receivers, but as Lofa said earlier in the show, just one of the greatest Seahawks players ever, and no doubt will. There's just no chance that he's going to be back with this team next season unless he, again, massively restructures his contract again. He did it a year ago. Will he do it one more time? We shall see. He wants to play again, and he has every right and should want to play again. He can be productive. Did he take a little step back here in terms of his production this year to benefit DK, or to specifically benefit JSN? Probably. He talked about it this week when he met with the media. I always like to see guys play their entire career in one uniform. It doesn't happen that often anymore. Thought I would see it. Thought we would see it with Bobby Wagner. Obviously didn't end that way. I think that Tyler Lockett have something very similar to Bobby Wagner. Go someplace else and thrive in an offensive system that could use a veteran third wide receiver. He certainly could do that, and he certainly wants to chase and get himself a ring. But when that game ends, give a nod to number 16. He just a consummate professional on and off the field, represented the Seattle Seahawks in the best ways that you can possibly represent your organization. So tip of the cap there to Tyler Lockett as he plays his final game there for the Seattle Seahawks. Hey, What the Puck, brought to you by Restoration One of North Seattle, your restoration company that lets you avoid the stress of water, fire, and mold damage with their property restoration services. Locally owned and operated. Make them your first call when those damages affect your residential or commercial property. 206-817-8917. Visit them online, restoration1.com, the North Seattle franchise. Full show will be up later on YouTube. When you're there, please subscribe and like. Do the same thing on all your major podcast platforms as well. Apple, Spotify, wherever you find your podcasts. And, of course, one-stop shop, everything always up at PuckSports.com. I'll say it again, reminder, I'm going to interview Anne McCoy, WSU AD, coming up later today. We'll have that coming out later this afternoon. We'll see you on Monday. Everybody enjoy the last weekend of your holiday before things get real on Monday. We'll talk to you on Monday. As always, promise to be better.
No shoes, no ties.
Would anybody like to smoke some pot?
Yeah.
I was born to love you. I was born to lick your face. I was born to rub you. But you were born to rub me first.
What do you need my address for?
We'd like to send out a mailer.
Mother of mercy, I don't speak Japanese!